10 game weeks, 100 games, 40 days. Games are going to come thick and fast. Timelines will have to be managed immaculately. There are a couple of game weeks which are just 1 or 2 days apart. Serious crunch time for all the FPL managers. How are we going to cope with it? Let's dive straight into it. Hello and warm welcome to everybody from the Trybe and the FPL community. We are just 4 days away from a frenetic 10 game week session, which has been just jammed into a 40-day time period. It's nothing new. It happens every year. What also happens every year is most of the FPL managers really kind of strategize around this 10 game week time period and make sure that they do not miss any timelines. The strategy is right in place, and they have done their homework before this 10 game week time period starts. So here we are. We are today doing a part one in what is going to be a 3-episode series, wherein we're going to deal with most of the factors that an FPL manager can cover to really take care and really to really cope up with this frenetic time. What are you going to do today? Let's get into it. 3-episode series, like I said. Every episode we're going to cover 2 factors. First episode, which is today, we're going to cover if we're going to be covering our teams. Is any team which will have an upper hand in terms of getting enough rest time or more rest time as compared to other teams. The second factor that we'll be covering today is any teams which are playing in other competitions apart from the Premier League during this 10 game week period. Tomorrow, episode number 2, we will be talking about rotation risk players. Players who have played most of the times, or versus players who have not had really got a chance. So we're gonna, because of this time period where games are gonna come thick and fast, we're gonna just check which are the players which are highly at risk in terms of the rotation. Second thing we're going to cover tomorrow will be players on the brink of suspension in terms of yellow cards. 10 game weeks, like I said, that might sound like a broken record, but 10 game weeks, yellow cards are going to come thick and fast. Which are the players who are on 3 yellow cards or 4 yellow cards and are in the danger of getting a 5th one, and in lieu they're going to be missing a game. This third episode, which will be recorded day after tomorrow, will be covering new manager bounds. There are 3 managers across Premier League. There have been a history about new manager bounds. Whenever there's a new manager, teams tend to do better as compared to the last past game weeks for them. So we're going to take a look at that, and then we will sign off with any cheap assets in the score who we can kind of rotate between these 2 cheap assets. By cheap, I mean cumulative value of around 9 to 10 million across 2 assets. Today, as I said, we're going to speak about today's episode first. We're going to speak about what's the rest time teams are going to enjoy, between these 10 game weeks, and then we're going to look at teams, if there are any teams who are going to be playing other competitions as well, apart from Premier League. So let's get into it. Here we take a look at the bottom 5 teams and the parameter of rest time between the fixtures, and this data is been measured in days. So these are the bottom 5 teams. That means they have the least amount of rest time between the fixtures that are going to be coming the next 10 game weeks. Tottenham is right up there with 3.38 days between any 2 fixtures. So this is spread across the 10 game weeks they're going to be playing. Leicester is second, which is 3.43. Liverpool is third, 3.5. Chelsea, and followed by West Ham. Now, the common thing across these 5 teams is that most of them, in fact, all of them, will be involved in some other competition apart from Premier League as well. So there you have it. Tottenham is the worst in terms of getting the least amount of rest time between any 2 fixtures, followed by Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham. You might be surprised to see not see Manchester City there, but we're going to find out why is that so. Here is now the list of the top 5 teams in terms of the rest time that they're going to be getting between any two fixtures across the next 10 game weeks. Wolves, Newcastle, Brighton, Brentford, and Burnley. Uh, these are the top five teams in terms of getting the maximum rest as compared to the other 15 teams. We already have seen the worst five in terms of getting the least amount of rest. And as a matter of fact, obviously that is a function of those five teams kind of playing in other competitions as well, mostly the Champions League and the Europa League as well as the Conference League in case of Tottenham Hotspur. But there you have it. Wolves has got is number one with getting the maximum time between any two fixtures going forward into the frenetic season, followed by Newcastle, Brighton, Brentford. Well, to be honest, there is not too much of a difference between Newcastle, Brighton, Brentford, and Burnley. But these teams tend to have a very thin squad. So the FPL managers will have to kind of be very careful in terms of what assets they pick from this team. Obviously, the fixture ticker has to be taken into consideration as well. So there you have it. We'll start with Man United, and the Champions League campaign, how it's going. As you can see from the table, they are sitting at the top currently with 7 points, and they're tied at points with Villarreal. Finally, their next fixture is against Villarreal, which is an away game. Now, this is going to be an absolutely crackerjack of a game because they both are tied at the top, and the other team in the group, which should be in top two right now, which is Atlanta. They play young boys, so they are expected to win that, and Atlanta goes on to 8 points. So this game against Villarreal for United is gonna be a critical game. Now, this game is sandwiched between Watford away, which is on this weekend, and Chelsea away, which is the weekend after that. Now, this is gonna be the Villarreal away game and the Chelsea away game are really two games which can make Ole continue his manager reign, or it might just end it as well before United gets into the frenetic season, the busy season as well. So even if they win this game against Villarreal, they'll be at 10 points. I'm assuming Atlanta is going to win it. So they'll be at 8. Then Atlanta and Villarreal will play the last league game when United will play against Young Boys home, which will be the last league game for them in Champions League group. So that game is sandwiched between Crystal Palace home and Norwich away. Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. Crystal Palace has been in a great form, this season under Patrick Vieira. Not an easy game for United. Then they have the good thing about United. Good thing for United is that they are playing young boys at Old Trafford as well. So Norwich away after that, and Norwich away has a new manager already. Now, so it's a tricky one for United. They would be playing there as we have seen in the past. They have played with their the first playing 11 for all their Champions League games till now, and I wouldn't be surprised if it stays that way. Here we speak about Chelsea. Chelsea were defeated by Juventus, which was a big loss in terms of the group that is there for them in the Champions League. It's a given that which of the two teams are going to go to the next round. But the next game, which is Chelsea versus Juventus, which is next week, midweek, is going to be a massive one because either of these teams would love to top the group and would like to avoid any other pot A group team in the round of 16. So the Juventus game is sandwiched between Leicester away and Man United home. So these are three pretty tough fixtures for Chelsea, and it's a no-brainer that Tuchel is gonna get into a lot of rotation for his players. Now, game number 6, which is the league game number 6, even if Chelsea wins against Juventus, they will be at 12. They will be at 12, and Juventus will be at 12. So the Zenit game also is crucial in terms of winning this game. So and it's an away game. So, and we all know, traveling to Russia can be time consuming, energy sapping for any team. So this Zenit game which is an away game, is sandwiched between West Ham away, which is considered to be tough this season, considering the way West Ham has been playing, and Leeds home. So it's a no-brainer again that it's we as an FPL manager should expect a lot of return coming from Chelsea manager going forward in this season. We get on to Liverpool. Liverpool, on the other hand, is kind of safely sitting in terms of, as far as the Champions League campaign is concerned. They are already through to round of 16. They have the game at home against Porto next week, which is sandwiched between Arsenal home this weekend and Southampton home. So they have three home fixtures in a row now, so which is good news for any manager and in players. And Liverpool have been struck with a few injuries, so this will be music to Liverpool fans. Considering they are already into the round of 16. The last game will be Milan away, which would be Liverpool would have already qualified, as they've already qualified. I'm sure we could expect Klopp to ring in a few changes for this game. Milan away is sandwiched between Wolves away and Aston Villa home. So all in all, as far as their European commitment is concerned, Liverpool looks to be sitting pretty easy. We get on to Man City. They were not a part of that bottom five teams in terms of getting time between any two fixtures, uh, but their Champions League campaign is still really not have it hasn't really gone off as they would have wished to. So they are at 9, PSG is at 8. So we could comfortably say that these two teams will be going into the round of 16. But who's going to top it? I think that's still up for grabs. Man City is playing PSG at home next week, which is between Everton home and West Ham home. So okay, Everton home. Everton is not in a good way. They still are awaiting DCL to come back, and they have some defensive issues themselves. But PSG home and then West Ham home. These are two tough, really, really tough fixtures for Man City. And then, irrespective of whether they win against PSG, they will have another solid game against Red Bull Leipzig away, which they will have to win. So it's Man City or PSG, whoever is, they will have to win both games to really top the group. And that Leipzig game away is sandwiched between Watford away and Wolves home, which look decent on paper for Man City. So yes, as we are all aware about Pep Roulette, we would not be surprised if it does not continue, especially for the next game week, because it's a huge game against PSG home, and followed by West Ham home. From Champions League, we move on to Europa League, where Leicester and West Ham are involved. Leicester sitting third on the table with the win and a loss. They are, they have come two pretty tough games coming up. Whether they with it's only will only be one way to find out whether they will be able to move on to this next round in Europa League, because they do play Napoli away and in the last league game of this group. The next game is against Warsaw at home, who themselves are sitting at second spot. And this game is right after Chelsea away game for Leicester, which is next weekend, and before the Watford home game, which is the game after that. So from a 21-22 season perspective for Leicester, for Brendan Rodgers, they have had a very topsy-turvy start for the season in Premier League. They're sitting at number 12. They started very slow in the last 4-5 games. They have been able to get some points. The defense is still very shaky, which can be seen from this table as well. They have conceded 7 goals in four games in the Europa League campaign as well. The last game, like I said, the last game is against Napoli, which is an away game. It's going to be a tough one, which is sandwiched between Aston Villa away and Newcastle home. Now these two teams do have new managers now in place. Steven Gerrard for Aston Villa and Eddie Howe for Newcastle. So it's not going to be easy for Leicester. New manager bounce, as we have seen, since the last 4 or 5 years. It's quite prominent. So Leicester have the task cut out, going forward, and it's most of the field managers, if they own any Leicester asset, it is Jamie Vardy. So it's going to be, though he did play the last Europa League game, I think Brendan Rodgers has used him very selectively for Europa League. But it'll all boil down to how serious Leicester as a club is looking at Europa League. We go on to West Ham now. They have been the talk of the town in the first 11 game weeks, sitting currently at 3 in the Premier League with a fabulous win against Liverpool last game week. They should be able to top this group. They're sitting right at the top with 10 points. They have a game against Rapid Wien, which is an away game, which is next midweek. Now, this game is between Wolves away and the City away game as well. So, City versus West Ham, the number 2, number 3 teams right now in Premier League. This game will be played at Etihad. I'm sure David Moyes would love to have fully rested team, as we saw them against Liverpool. They have been absolutely deadly going forward this season. So it'll be a crazy game against City. They play at Etihad, and West Ham would love to make a point there. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of a team David Moyes play in the remaining 2 Europa League games. The last game is against Dynamo Zagreb, which is an away game, which is right after Chelsea home, which is again going to be a super game in Premier League. West Ham should go on to the next round. It'll be interesting to see what kind of changes he makes. People who own Antonio, Benrahma, and a differential in Bowen should not be too concerned, because David Moyes, I think, is gonna take it easy as far as the Europa League campaign is concerned. We move on to Tottenham. Tottenham is playing in this year's Conference League, and they are sitting at number 2 right now, 3 points behind the group leader Rennes, who Tottenham is going to play at home in a couple of weeks' time. Now, that game is between Norwich home and Brighton away. Now, the plus point for these next 10 game weeks is that Tottenham's fixtures are the easiest. So it couldn't have been perfect for Conte to start his new managerial campaign in London, another London campaign. But he has now been the manager for almost 3 weeks now, including a 2 weeks break of international fixtures. Now he would love to see the impact what his team does on the field now. Now they would know what he's really asking for from them, and it would be interesting to see how he manages Kane and Son and his wing backs, which he is known to which is known to use as far as his last 2-3 managerial campaigns are concerned. There is a tournament which is also being played apart from Premier League and Champions League, which is the Carabao Cup. We are in the business end of the tournament. Quarterfinals are going to be played, I think, on December 22nd and 23rd. Between these 8 teams on your screen, 7 out of these 8 teams are Premier League sides. Sunderland being the 8th one. Now these matches are going to be played, right in the middle, right in between game week 18 and game week 19. So the other 13 Premier League teams will have a proper 1 week rest. Arsenal is not involved in Europe this year, so their players will be relatively fresher as compared to most of the other teams. Brentford and Chelsea. Chelsea obviously still competing on all fronts, so it'll be interesting to see for from an FPL perspective, how many changes will be done for this particular tournament and how serious Tuchel is about uh, Carabao Cup. Brentford, being Brentford, not too big a squad. They will be definitely eyeing for a trophy win, and they will definitely take this game very very seriously in terms of playing their first 11. Liverpool plays Leicester, and Tottenham plays West Ham United. Tottenham, new manager. They are 3 games away to winning a trophy in Carabao Cup, which they haven't won for the longest time. Liverpool, Leicester. Liverpool still struggling with injuries. Not sure about how serious an injury of Mane is. Firmino is already out, so it'll be interesting to see, when he is back and how serious the injury to Mane is, considering that AFCON will AFCON all players related to AFCON tournament will be moving to Africa in the first week of January. So yes, so from a FPL perspective, managers need to be very wary of these 8 fixtures. Sorry, of these 4 fixtures, and how many changes will these managers from Premier League team will be making. There you have it. Those are the factors that we all FPL managers will have to take care of as far as the next 10 game weeks are concerned. The second episode, which is going to be coming tomorrow, we're gonna speak about the rotation risk players, players who are not really nailed on till now. We're going to see how they have been, how often they have been appearing for the teams, number of minutes that they've played, and so on and so forth. The second factor we're going to be speaking about tomorrow is going to be players who are on the brink of suspension for one game, as far as the yellow cards are concerned, because these are games which are going to come thick and fast. Managers will have to do a lot of substitutions and rotation. So we got to take care, or we're going to keep a track of the players who are on 3 yellow cards or four yellow cards, because if you get 5 yellow cards in the first half of the season, you will get suspended for one game. So we're going to take a look at that. Hope you guys enjoyed this series, which is this episode 1 of this 3 series.